Hey guys, how's it going? The other week I shared a video on LinkedIn showing how easy it was to set up OpenAI's GPT-3 with Shopify to automatically generate product descriptions. A lot of you guys reached out and asked how I did it, if I could show you how. So in this video I'm going to do that. By the end of it, we will have created a Shopify app that listens to product tags and automatically generates a product description using OpenAI. So just to show you what that will look like, I got a store set up. I got a couple of products here. Let's start with the beach ball. So you can see it has a very short description. I'm going to add a product tag to it, and that the Shopify app that we'll create is going to automatically reach out to OpenAI's GPT-3 endpoint, generate a product description, and write that back to Shopify. And will look something like this. And you can do this in bulk as well. So I got a couple of other products in here that have similar small product descriptions. So we're just going to go ahead and select all of those and bulk tag them. And you'll see that that works just the same. So add this GPT-3 tag, hit save, give OpenAI a second or two to generate those product descriptions. And now that we go into these products, you'll see that they have new product descriptions. And this is super simple to do. Like I said, it's going to take us 15 minutes. We're going to use free services, and by the end of it, we'll have a Shopify app that you can use like this, or you can extend on and build something a little bit more advanced. So with that said, let's go ahead, dive into it, and build our app. Okay, so we're going to start by building the backend of our app. So the piece that integrates with Shopify, reaches out to GPT-3, generates a product description, and sends that back to Shopify. To do that, we're going to use a service called Gadget. You can find it at gadget.dev. And it's essentially a serverless stack for e-commerce apps, which allows you to build the backend of your app without setting up a lot of the infrastructure, doing the integrations, a lot of those things from scratch. So what you get is platform connections, a managed database, JavaScript environment, etc. And if none of this makes sense for you, don't worry about it. I'll explain a few things about Gadget as we go through it, but there's a lot of other things that you can do with it. And for full disclosure, I work at Gadget. If you don't already have an account, you can just get started for free by clicking here and signing up. I already have an account, so I'm just going to go ahead and log in using my Google account. Once you've signed up or logged in, we're going to go ahead and create a new Gadget app. So this is just the backend for our Shopify application. So I'm going to call that GPT-3 products. And then I'm just going to hit get started. And in Gadget, what you have here is a fully hosted backend that you can do a lot of different things. Shopify apps is one example. So we're going to go ahead and add what's called a connection. So that's an integration with Shopify. And here Gadget is going to ask you for two things, an API key and an API secret. And that's for us to be able to integrate Gadget and Shopify. To get that, you need to go to your partners account in Shopify. This is where you create apps, you can create test stores. If you don't already have a Shopify Partners account, it's free to sign up and use. You can click join now. I naturally already have an account, so I'm just going to log into that. And when you land in the Shopify Partners dashboards, if this is the first time, there's two things that you should be doing. So first of all, if you don't already have a test store, go ahead and create a store. It's free to create a development store, add a couple of products because we're going to need them later to generate our product descriptions. I already have this Prestige Worldwide demos that I've opened up in a different tab here. We'll use it in a minute. But once you've set that up, we're going to go ahead and create the Shopify app. So do that by clicking apps in the left-hand navigation here. And then we're going to hit create app. And this is true no matter if you use Gadget or another service, you need to create a Shopify app. And we're going to hit create app manually here. And then we'll ask to give it a name. So I'm just going to call it my GPT-3 app. This is the name that would be visible to a merchant that would install your app if you would choose to build a public app and put it on the App Store. And now you're in the configuration for this Shopify app. There's a lot of things in here that you don't have to care about. For the demo purposes, we're just going to copy this client ID and client secret that Gadget is asking for. So let's put that in here and then copy the second one and paste that in here. And now in Gadget, we're going to click Connect. And what we're seeing here is a bunch of different API options. So depending on what kind of Shopify app you want to build, Shopify has a lot of different APIs. So Gadget have access to all of those that you can use. In our case, we don't need many of them. We just need to have access to products. So we want to be able to read product descriptions as well as write product descriptions back to Shopify. So I'm going to click right here, and then there's a bunch of sub-models, the various parts of products that we may or may not be interested in. So I'm going to keep it simple. We really only want the product description. We don't need images. We don't need the product options, variants, selling plans, collections, etc. So I'm just going to click this product option. And then I'm just going to ignore all of the other options that I have because they're not meaningful for this demo. So I'm just going to hit confirm. And what Gadget does here is that it sets up a bunch of Shopify data models in our hosted database. That's going to allow us to store Shopify product data, information about the shop that gets that installs this app, and a couple of other things. And we'll go through some of it later in this demo. But for the purposes of completing the Shopify connection, we're just going to go ahead and copy this app URL. So this is a URL to my Gadget app. And we're going to tell Shopify that this Shopify app that I set up, it is powered by this Gadget app. So we're just telling Shopify, hey, this app, when you're using it, it lives on the internet on this address, gpt3products.gadget.app. Then I'm going to go ahead and copy the allowed redirect URL and paste that in here. And there's nothing else that we need to do here, so we can just click Save. And then we're going to go ahead and click out to Overview, and now we're going to install it on our store. So to do that, I'm going to hit Select Store, and hopefully you have created a test store that we can use. I have my Prestige Worldwide demos here, so I'm just going to hit Install App. And now we're going to get the Shopify OAuth screen. If you played around with Shopify installed apps in the past, you're going to recognize this. This is what it looks like if you install an app from the App Store. Like I said, the name that we gave our app is what's going to show up here to merchants when they try to install this app. And all of this is possible because Gadget has already sort of given you the OAuth, the Shopify OAuth flow out of the box. You don't need to do a lot of work to get to this place. If you built something from scratch or using another service than Gadget, you would probably spend probably hours to set this process up to be able to install this app. So in my Prestige Worldwide store here, you can now see that my GPT-3 app is installed and it's powered by Gadget. So what we've done now so far is that we've created a Shopify, we've installed a Shopify app, we've installed it on a store, and that app is powered by Gadget. So Gadget can now communicate with Shopify for your store. And as you can see in Gadget, you can see that the shop is installed. And just to show you something, is that you can now go ahead and sync products. So if you click here, Gadget will download all of the products that you have on your store and store them in your local database on Gadget. So you can see all of them in here. And what's more is that Gadget is going to listen to Shopify webhooks. So if we go ahead and update a product, let's take this beach ball. Let's change the description to small inflatable beach ball. If I click Save here, Shopify emits something that's called a webhook. It's telling apps that is installed on this store, listening to product updates, that something happened, I updated something, and if we refresh in Gadget, you can now see how this changed to small inflatable small inflatable beach ball. So that means that Gadget is aware when something changes on your products. And that's exactly what we want, right? We want to tell Gadget that, hey, I want you to update the product description and give it a signal. In our case, we're going to use a tag to go ahead and update that product description. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's add the logic that does that. And to do that, we're going to need to use OpenAI, right? Because that is going to power the GPT-3 description that we're going to generate, or the GPT-3 generated product description. So to do that, we need to have an OpenAI account. It's free, so go ahead to openai.com. click API. If you don't already have an account, it's free to sign up. I already have one, so I'm just going to log in here. I'm going to use my Google account. And then once you're in here, you can go ahead over to Personal and click View API Keys. I think that when you still sign up to OpenAI, you get a couple of dollars worth of credit to begin with that you can use without having to pay for the initial use that you're doing. Once you've done that, we're going to hit Create New API Key. You're going to copy this. Don't close this before you've copied it because you cannot copy it again. And then we're going to go over to Gadget, and in Settings, click Environment Variables and add these values that we just pasted. We're going to call it OpenAI API key, and then we're just going to paste them in here. So Gadget has both a development and production environment. We're just going to use the development environment for this. You don't have to worry about the production one, and I'm not going to explain it in this video because we're not going to use it. But if you're building Shopify apps and want to have a development and a production environment, Gadget allows you to do that. So I'm also going to encrypt these values to make sure that they're stored safely. And what we've done now is essentially given Gadget the keys to communicate with OpenAI for us. So the next thing that we want to do is to make it simple for us to communicate with OpenAI. Gadget has something that is called NPM Package support. So OpenAI have this NPM package that sort of abstracts the integration with them and makes it simpler for us to use it without having to build everything from scratch. So we're going to go ahead and use that. So we'll go here to our package.json in Gadget. We're going to type in the OpenAI package, and then we'll check they are on version 3.1.0. If you're not sure what this is, you've never used NPM packages, don't worry about it. Just copy what I'm doing here, type OpenAI : and then 3.1.0. And then we're just going to go ahead and install that by running yarn. Meanwhile, I'm going to explain what we're doing next. So what we want to do is for Gadget to listen to Shopify product updates and go ahead and update the product description. The way to do that in Gadget is to go to this Shopify product model. This is where I showed you where we have our data. And here we can add logic. So we got 3 different actions here: create, update, and delete. So whenever a product gets created, updated, or deleted, Gadget gets a webhook and listens to that, and you can add logic to do something when that happens. In our case, we want to listen to update webhooks, and when that happens, we want to add some logic. We want to run some code that updates the product description for us. We're going to hit run code file here. Gadget creates a code file for us, and we're going to go ahead and add our logic in here. So I'm going to just expand this into full screen, and what I'm going to do next is that I'm just going to copy paste all of the code that I have. It will be linked in the video description, and then I'm going to show it in action, and then I'm going to explain the different pieces of the code so you understand what it does. So this is the final code. It's about 50 lines long, and what it does is that it updates product description. So just again going to show how it works. So we got our small inflatable beach ball here. The way that I've set up this app is to listen to product tags. So when I add the GPT-3 product tag to this product, Gadget is listening to that webhooks that gets emitted when I say. It's going to call out to OpenAI, get a new product description, and then save that to Shopify. And this is where it is. So let's go ahead and look how that works in the code file. We've created the app, we're essentially done. But let's explain how it works. So on the first line here in the code file, I'm just using the NPM package from OpenAI, which allows us to build this a lot quicker. Then Gadget provides us with this module exports function. If you're not sure what it is, don't worry about it. It's just saying that everything that exists between this bracket here and this bracket here will be executed whenever a product gets updated. And this function in Gadget has access to our internal APIs, the Shopify product record that we have in our database, the webhook that we get from Shopify that contains all of the information about the product. We got access to our internal logs and a connection with Shopify. And it's important to understand that whenever Shopify emits a webhook, this code will run, and this code will be aware of the product that gets updated, both the data that we already have in our database as well as the product information that we're getting in the webhook. And what I'm doing next is just setting up my OpenAI configuration using the API key and then setting that up here. I have a placeholder variable for the new product description that we want OpenAI to generate for us. And then I'm storing the product tags that we're getting from Shopify in the webhook to this product tag variable. And I'm doing that because in the next step, I want to see if the Shopify webhook includes the GPT-3 product tag. As you remember, as I just showed you, we're adding that product tag to signal to our Shopify app that, hey, I want you to generate this product description. So this if statement will look at if that if that product tag exists and only run the rest of the code if it does. Because if we do other tags, if we do other changes to our products, we don't want to generate a product description. So if the product tag is added and saved and it exists in the webhook, we're going to run this code. So we're using the OpenAI create completion endpoint, which will generate a product description for us. And it does that based on a prompt. We're telling, similar if you've used GPT, we're telling ChatGPT or GPT-3 here, what is it that I want you to do for me? And this is just some boilerplate prompts. You can update it with something that makes more sense for you. It's for demo purposes. But what it says is essentially, this is a Shopify product titled, and then I provide the title of the product, and it has the description, and then I provide the product description that is stored in this body field. Please make the description more imaginative and attractive to potential buyers. Use text speaking to the buyer, include a sentence with made-up facts that will impress them, and 2 scenarios of why they would want to own this product. Return the new description with HTML markup such as P for paragraphs and BR for line breaks, and use at most 200 words. So you can change this out for whatever makes sense for you. I'm using this for demo purposes. And I got a couple of other parameters that we've required to send to OpenAI. Temperature just means that, or temperature 0 just means that ChatGPT will use mainly facts that we're providing with it and not come up with a bunch of other things that we haven't provided it to. And max tokens is approximate how many words that we want it to be able to generate, including the words that we're passing to it. So with that, OpenAI has all of the information that it requires to generate that product description. It does that, and then it spits it out here, and we're going to store that to this new product description variable that we created up here. And then the next step is just updating Shopify and providing Shopify with that product description. And in Gadget, that is very, very simple. We just use the built-in connection and using the current store, setting up that connection, and then hitting up the Shopify API, the product endpoint, and the update method. We're going to pass the record ID, which is just the ID of the product that is currently running this code. And then we're going to send in the new product description to a field called body HTML. It's essentially this field that has the product description. And then we're also going to pass in some tags. So the way that this works is that we added the GPT-3 product tag to trigger this script. I want to remove that tag to make sure that when we update Shopify, we remove it, because otherwise Shopify is going to continue to trigger webhooks and we're going to run the script over and over and over again. So I got a little piece of code here that just removes the GPT-3 tag from any product tags that you might already have, and just remove it when we send this update. And then lastly, I just do a a little console.log to our internal Gadget log saying that I updated this product and include the description. And as I showed you, you can add a tag. It does this, and you can also do this in bulk. So we can take these 3 products here. We can add a tag. We add the GPT-3 tag, hit save, and give GPT-3 a few seconds to generate these. And then if we go into the drum set, I would expect to see a product description. There you got it. And just a note, again, the tag, GPT-3 tag, is not here. We removed it because otherwise, if it was still here, when we update this product description, it's similar to you adding it here and hitting save, and that would emit a webhook, and Gadget would listen to that. And if the GPT-3 tag was still in there, we would do this over and over and over again. So all of these products now have product descriptions. And this little logger thing that we created, you can see that it put out information into our Gadget log. Okay, that's it. We built a Shopify app that uses GPT-3 to automatically generate product descriptions. I hope that you found this useful and fun. Let me know if you have any questions or feedback, or if there's anything else that you would want to learn about Gadget or about building Shopify apps. Leave my contact details in the video description. A few things that I want to sort of mention before we round off is that do make sure to update the prompt to something that makes sense to you. This is just something that I came up with for demo purposes. It probably isn't suitable for actual use cases, so make sure to change that. And also, it's very simple to extend on this using Gadget. As an example, say that you wanted to build an embedded UI into Shopify that allows you to review the generated copy and change it or tweak it before you publish it to Shopify. You can add that to this embedded UI. If you know a little bit of JavaScript coding, it would be easy to do with Gadget. We have tutorials of how to do something similar, as well as building other types of Shopify apps really easily on Gadget's website. So make sure to look at those if you're interested in building Shopify apps. I'll leave a link to those in the video description. Okay, that's it. Do reach out if there's something that you have on your mind, or if you want help building something else. Would be happy to build other tutorials. But thank you for watching this one, and maybe I'll see you in the future. Bye.